If you live in Minnesota all your life, you know there's going to be snowbanks.
Wet, but it's cold and it melts as it hits your face and goes down your shirt. It's just not a good time.
Crazy. I'm from Florida, so I'm slowly getting used to it.
Yeah, right now we have heavy snow from about Mora towards Cambridge, Elk River, into the West Metro.
I kind of love it because, you know, the country that I come from, it doesn't snow there ever.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of UTVS News. I'm Leah Carr. Now we all know it's been a tough winter, and as much as we try to avoid the headaches that come with it, it's impossible when we have to drive anywhere. This was a busy winter for the Stearns County Highway Department. 13 plow drivers work at the St. Cloud shop, operating 70,000-pound trucks. Megan Reisted had the chance to ride along.
Ask any Minnesotan and they'll tell you it's been a tough winter.
Oh, this one's got to be up there. We've had quite a bit of snow, a lot of the little storms every couple of days. I would say this is up there at 7 or 8 probably.
And when the snow arrives, Stearns County Highway Department doesn't stay inside. They're out in the middle of it.
It can be stressful at times. I like it. I like being busy and having enough stuff to do.
No one knows better than Trevor Greener.
You got your wing up and down, and this is my belly blade, my underbody.
An unpredictable job.
You never know what you're going to see or what you're going to come up on.
Half science.
Brine is down to 0 or 5 below, something in there, where chloride I think is 16 below.
Half skill.
You just grab onto the wheel and ride it out.
Cleaning up inches upon inches of snow, sleet, and slush.
It's kind of melting. Smeary, look it up, it's got to be in the dictionary somewhere, ain't it?
950 miles of road maintenance for the largest county in the southern half of the state isn't an easy feat.
The worst thing would be an ice storm for a plow truck. You're trying to put salt down to melt that ice. But the problem is staying on the road so you can get some material down.
Next time you're in a hurry,
you have cars that fly by you, and the next thing you know, you look in front of you and they're in the ditch.
Just remember,
it just doesn't pay to try to get around us because the road is not clear in front of us. Give them room and don't crowd them, and just let them get the road safe.
Because their job is to help you get to yours.
You're out there helping people get to where they gotta go. It makes you feel good, you know, trying to keep it safe. That's a good part about it.
Megan Reisted, UTVS News.
Yeah, so some of these trucks...
Plow drivers are typically scheduled from 4:30 to 7, but if the weather calls for different hours, they'll plow anytime. And we complain about it every year. When is spring going to finally get here? Winter brings the cold weather, snow, and slippery roads, but these aren't the only things that Minnesotans are having to deal with. Carson Forsman has more.
If you've driven a car in Minnesota, you've probably been a victim.
I pulled out a couple times in front of people and it was scary.
You can't even see at all.
You've also probably had time to stop and think about how hard it really is.
When you come up to a stop sign, it's hard to see anything. You almost have to be out in the street to be able to look around and see if there's anything coming.
A tall, faded shield filled with dirt and maybe even a bike that decided to place itself rock solid in the worst spot possible. About every corner has one of these, but there isn't much you can do because it's simply too hard to break down.
With the amount of snow that we've had and the temperatures not really dropping, we haven't seen much melting, and so that's the reason for the tall snowbanks that people are seeing.
If you live in Minnesota all your life, you know there's going to be snowbanks.
Either just try to avoid those intersections if you can. The other thing is really you can just do the creep into traffic method, and that's really about all you can do. Just be very careful, creep, 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 and then go when you get a gap.
No matter how ridiculous this winter has been,
you should see the snowbank out back here. It's as high as my window.
The warm weather can't come soon enough.
I know. Can't wait. It's March, so yeah, I can't wait.
Crews are working hard and renting equipment to knock down those drifts and make it easier to see while driving. And after the break, how the ice, snow, and cold temperatures could cost you thousands of dollars. And remember to visit our website, utvsnews.com, for all your local stories, and find us on Facebook. Well, as we know, there are plenty of things to worry about during the winter. What you might not know is that the ice that collects from the end of your roof is an important one.
On a quiet and cold winter day, Sometimes some commotion is needed.
A lot of just basically icicles hanging off the edge, and if they see nothing but pure ice at the edge of the roof, they see the snow, but then below the snow on the eave end, it's mainly going to happen on your eave ends in the bottom of your valleys. They're going to see ice, and don't get me wrong, it can be more than 6 inches. We've seen some 12 inches.
Those icicles forming on your house are not just for decoration. What Shane was talking about are ice dams, and they can actually cause some serious damage.
What happens when you do get an ice dam and it's too late, you're going to have water intrusion in your house. It's going to go on your inside of your walls. It's going to damage your sheetrock. It's going to damage your insulation. It's going to get in the wall cavity, can possibly create mold.
Because being on a roof at any time is dangerous, especially during the winter.
Best way to go is to call a professional. So the first thing, of course, we're going to shovel off the roof with snow, because snow is the actual culprit. It's melting and creating that ice dam. So we're going to pull out our machine right here. It's just hot pressure washer is what they call it. It can create steam and hot water.
We're just going to keep cutting like this, back and forth.
So if you let your ice dam build up.
The biggest ice dam I would have to see is I saw one that was actually over approximately 20 inches high.
Zablocki Roofing might have to step up.
And then it creates a big inconvenience. The homeowners now have to tear apart all their sheetrock, tear apart carpet. Your carpet can get damaged, your subfloor can get damaged. It turns into a big insurance process and a big inconvenience for the homeowner.
Upkeep and maintenance can help you avoid dealing with those hassles. Shane says to make sure you buy ones with wheels on them. This allows the shovel to not scrape the shingles. Now, this is not a cheap process, but compared to the possible cost of the damages those ice dams can do, it's much more affordable. And you hear a lot about cars breaking down during the winter, but something you might want to keep in mind is the importance of keeping your furnace in good condition.
Freezing temperatures can cause many problems.
It seems like it should be already February 28th.
But it's Minnesota and it's January, so it's just kind of to be expected.
And one of those is right at home.
We're prepared for it. We're always prepared for it. It's winter in Minnesota. So.
St. Cloud State Facilities Construction Coordinator John Frischman explains your furnace at home can be affected if not given the proper treatment.
Make sure your furnace is in good working order.
He tells us 4 basic steps to keep your furnace in good conditions.
Make sure the filter is clean. They should normally be cleaned every 30 days or so. Lots of times it's good to make sure that your ducts are clean. So make sure all the grills and registers are open at home. Make sure you're getting heat. But just make sure your windows are all closed and locked. Make sure your weather stripping is good around your doors and windows.
And these instructional booklets that are collecting dust all year long do contain some important information. Because of the constant sub-zero temperatures, maintenance is a must.
It's always good to do maintenance when it's not this cold, because unfortunately what happens when it's this cold is that
Emilio Ramos,
repairmen are very busy. So it's always good to have furnaces tuned up in the fall or the spring.
UTVS News.
If you have problems with your furnace, it's recommended that you contact a professional for your own safety. Visit our website for more information. And earlier we talked about ice dams on your roof, and the last thing you may want to hear from us as the temperatures are warming up is about problems underneath the ground.
We knew about 2 weeks ago that it was going to get
winter isn't over.
Severe and not better as the first few calls started coming in.
Neither are the headaches due to the cold.
Yeah, it's been worse this year.
Yeah. High propensity or a high occurrence of frozen lines.
The frozen ground is keeping St. Cloud's public utility on its toes.
We had crews working pretty much 24/7 for the last 3 weeks.
Responding to over 100 frozen water pipe problems.
Frozen.
But they,
for sure, it makes my job easier.
Don't do it alone.
But we have a list of contractors in town that can do it.
This helps both teams work fast to avoid major hazards.
The water freezes, it expands, and that can cause the water main to actually break.
And by leaving the water around when you leave home for a number of hours, days, or months can help you prevent from getting a frozen water pipe.
You keep the water moving, keep the towers going up and down, keep the water going in and going out at
The cost of the water isn't covered, but the city does help alleviate the $1 daily amount from running water.
So we'll waive the sewer charges that will result of that. So your water and sewer are tied together. So, but the water is still responsible. Again, about $1 a day.
There were over 170 frozen accounts reported in the St. Cloud area. If your water stopped running at home and you think the pipes could be frozen, contact St. Cloud Public Utilities. We'll be right back. Snow has covered central Minnesota, and SCSU's campus was no exception. But who exactly clears the pathways for students to walk around campus? Alex Elmore has the story.
How long have I been shoveling right now? Probably only 20 minutes. Yeah.
Although Patty Scrod only been outside for a brief amount of time this morning, she's put in quite a few years here at St. Cloud State.
I've been here 22 years, for sure. Maybe 23. Yeah. It's very warm today.
The temperature might be warm for the maintenance worker, but the snow keeps falling, which means she keeps shoveling.
I've got about half of the building to do yet, or more. So
Patty keeps going, clearing the paths for students and taking time out of her day to have a little bit of fun.
I wish. Hey there, Brian. Hey, you want to help?
Hi. Arthritis and all.
Oh, come on, Brian. Bob, you better run fast. I got you.
Patty insists Minnesotans are tough and assures us if she wanted to do something else, she would have.
So we deal with it, you know, this is what we do, and it's Minnesota. So I was going to say, if I didn't like what I did, I would have quit a long time ago. So
Patty keeps a positive attitude with laughs. Reminding us it isn't all bad.
But it's beautiful. Look at that. It's gorgeous out here.
Alex Elmore, UTVS News.
Patty says she isn't counting on the snow going away anytime soon because March is one of the snowiest months here, but she doesn't mind and is looking forward to it. And even though it's March here in Minnesota, we can get snow at any time. Here are some things to keep in mind before dealing with fresh powder.
You really don't know. I mean, you don't know if it's going to snow. You know, the weather is one of those.
This is Barb. She owns a business in White Park.
The restaurant is Cozy's Eats and Sweets.
Her only competition at the moment seems to be the cold.
When it first starts to snow and get cold, everybody stays in.
But it doesn't take long for the holiday season to draw customers in.
December is usually really good because even though whether it's cold or whether we have storms, people are out and about and doing Christmas shopping. So
with these freezing temperatures, it is really tough to get outside. But once you get inside, it is not so bad.
It's very cozy with the fireplace over there and everything.
For Terry and Paulette, a date is much warmer
to knit. We had lunch and now we'll knit. Now we're knitting.
Than anything else.
And the temperature actually was almost reasonable. Or else we've been cold for so long, it doesn't matter what we do when we go out now.
But when the holidays begin to wrap up,
the darkness with the cold just is a bigger factor for keeping me home.
Minnesota's winter season,
January and February, and depending on how much snow we get in March, those are always challenging months.
Is far from over.
So it affects us at the beginning of a cold spell and then affects us in the opposite way, which is a good way, at the end of a cold spell.
Yep, you just gotta expect the best and hope people come in.
Emilio Ramos.
And if they don't come in, then we're prepared for tomorrow.
UTVS News.
We'll have more after the break. Frigid temperatures around the St. Cloud area have been slowing things down for many of us, but once we step inside, we can remind ourselves that life goes on. Emilio Ramos stepped inside a local gym and tells us how they are helping others fight the cold.
A quiet St. Cloud morning. A cold one, too.
Working, it's been pretty cold.
It's cold, and the wind, let me tell you.
Oh, I'll tell ya. It did slow things down a bit around the area.
I mean, they're tired. of the cold.
But Scott Kelm, owner of a local gym, says those elements that make a typical Minnesota winter.
Dark, cold, wind, yeah.
Are not keeping anyone from getting a workout.
And even today, with it being just as cold, you know, people don't call, they still come in.
He says conditioning the body can help you make it through a few more months of this unfriendly cold.
You know, people kind of get moody, they get depressed. It helps that the sun is out longer. Days are getting longer.
Exercising is in fact one simple way to keep your body healthy.
But, you know, again, whether it's hot or cold, you got to go out there. You just got to, again, slow things down.
Just make sure you follow instructions from a professional to avoid injuries.
You got to slow down. You know, the highway patrol tells you, slow down. The body's no different than a vehicle. Slow down. It'd be no different up in Alaska. It doesn't stop life.
Emilio Ramos, UTVS News.
Scott's right, it wouldn't be any different in Alaska, and it sure has felt like Alaska at times. So if you feel like that, just go on our website, utvsnews.com, after the show and learn about some options to keep your body active. One of those options is becoming popular in the area, and for some is making the daily commute a little easier. Megan Rysad introduces us to a new way to travel on ice and snow.
If you've ever said there's nothing to do in the winter,
there's lots of things to do: ice fishing, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, snowmobiling,
and a new kind of transportation in town.
They became popular about 4 or 5 years ago. We started seeing them about 11 years ago, but in the last few years they're becoming much more popular.
Fat tire biking, that's common.
Fat bikes, 4-inch thick wheels, just under 30 pounds, and the ability to go just about anywhere.
The beauty of it is that you get to go out and see different areas they typically don't get to see during the summertime.
The Stearns County Park Department also noticed an increase in fat bike demand.
There are a growing number in the community, and we're welcoming them at 4 parks to come and ride their fat tire bike on our packed walking trail. We're kind of watching and welcoming.
Welcoming a bike with no surface, too challenging.
Ice, better traction, even more than a studded tire like a regular 26. You're getting probably a 4-inch by 4-inch footprint on this ice.
In a cold season, it's still possible to have fun outdoors.
Kind of choose to do something. I think it's a happier, funner winter than if you just kind of hunker down and say, ain't this ugly. So choose to do something. It's your choice.
With a bike not about speed, but about the ride along the way.
Get out and go explore on a non-motorized transportation.
Megan Rysted, UTVS News.
Fat bikes typically cost around $2,000, and the number of participants in the St. Cloud area continues to grow. Over 600 people registered for this year's Polar Plunge at Pleasant Lake in St. Cloud. Danny Grand was there to meet the teams crazy enough to take the plunge.
People of all ages gathered in teams at Pleasant Lake on a chilly Saturday afternoon to take part in the Polar Plunge to support Minnesota's Special Olympics athletes.
Rubies.
St. Cloud Golf.
Haley's Little Dippers.
Mandy Rorick, along with 15 others, make up one of the largest teams plunging for a reason very near and dear to her heart.
It's our first year plunging, made up of our family and some close friends. It's for my daughter Haley, who just turned 14 months. She wasn't expected to live past 2 weeks, so she has a lot of health needs, special needs, handicaps, so we're doing this in honor of her.
The Little Dippers were hard to miss, but not because of their size.
They're a little crazy like we are. We didn't know what to do. So we're all about rainbow. Also, the colors are bright because Haley has vision issues and she only really reacts to bright colors. So we decided to go all out and do a neon rainbow.
But when it came time to plunge, they were all in.
I just kind of want to get it over with.
2, 1.
From Pleasant Lake, Danny Grand, UTVS News.
Oh God. Wait, you forgot your microphone.
Oh!
You forgot your microphone.
Over $80,000 was raised at the event, which is just a little less than last year. Pledges are still rolling in, and there are more plunge events going on throughout the middle of March. If you're interested in participating, a link with future locations is on our website. And since this winter weather is going to stick around, why not make the best of it? Well, a Gilman farmer did just that for all of us to enjoy.
Passed right through it heading to St. Cloud or Mille Lacs. But turning on Golden Spike Road at the Snowman sign, you'll start to see what looks like a silo, but it's actually Gilman's Celebrity this winter.
Yeah.
That's farmer Greg Novak, and he's decided to have some fun with all this snow we got this winter.
So I had to get that snow out of there. As long as I was moving it, I might as well do something productive with it.
How productive does one have to be to build a 50-foot snowman?
Longer than I thought, but apparently it was only like well, the first picture she took was January 29th till now, so about a month, but it seemed like 6 weeks, 2 months, you know.
This local celebrity, known as Granddaddy, has sparked people from all across Minnesota to pay visit to the 100-year vegetable farm Greg runs.
Weekend here, there were on average of 10 cars in here at a time, just kind of constantly people coming out, checking it out, taking pictures, which is great, you know. They enjoyed it, put a smile on their face. Like I said, must be doing something right whenever he's smiling like that. So
Granddaddy's 10-foot smile looks out on the 100-year vegetable farm, and Greg insists on eating those vegetables.
Look how big stuff grows when you eat your vegetables.
If it's anything Greg and Granddaddy can teach us, it's just to hang on, have some fun. Spring will be here soon.
At this rate, it ain't going no place, nothing too fast. If you can't beat it, embrace it, you know, have fun with it.
In Gilman, Ben Henry, UTVS News.
Well, let's hope for some warm weather soon. Again, I'm Leah Carr for UTVS News. Thanks for watching.